So the first step in our journey to playing ukulele is learning the proper playing position. So this is very important because it affects everything that you do as you go on and play the instrument. So the first thing that we want to do when holding the instrument is place it here on our upper right thigh. Now if you're a lefty, that'll change and it would look like this. But as a right-hander, I place the body of the instrument on my upper right thigh, and I like to have the instrument at about a 45-degree angle with the headstock slightly above my shoulder height. Now, in addition to that, I also will take the instrument and kind of tilt it so that I can see the face of the neck here. So I have my instrument in hand, and I'm about a 45-degree angle, and with my arm here, I like to take my palm and place it right across the body of the instrument so that my middle finger kind of goes down to the corner. And this sets up my arm here to cradle the instrument up against my body. Now with my fretting hand, or my left hand in this situation, I like to place my thumb on the middle of the back of the neck so that my hand is out in front of the neck here and my fingers are all out in front. So I don't want to kind of be in an uncomfortable position here, and I don't want to lean down and have my elbow resting on my leg. I want to make sure that my arm is free swinging, loose and relaxed. Another foundational element to playing the uke is learning the uke vocabulary and being able to identify the different components. So let's start here by identifying some of the components on the body of the instrument. So this whole region here is called the body of the ukulele. And in the middle, we have our sound hole. And on top, we have what is called the bridge. So the bridge is where the strings attach to. And they actually ride right on top of this, which is called the saddle. So the strings lay on top of the saddle, and the strings move over here to the neck of the instrument. So this whole region here is called the neck. On top of the neck, we have what's called the fretboard. And on top of the fretboard, we have, yes, you guessed it, the frets. The frets are these little metal bars here that are perpendicular to the fingerboard. And you'll notice here, something kind of important to note here right away is you'll see these little dots that sit on top of the fingerboard. Those are our markers to tell us what number fret that we're talking about. So this is our first fret. That's the region right behind the actual metal fret here. So when I refer to fret 1 at any point during the lessons, I'm talking about this space here. Then we have fret 2, 3, 4. When we get to 5, you'll notice there's a little dot there. 7, 10, and 12 also have dots. So those are to help you give visual markers so that as you're playing and you learn to play higher up on the neck, you have those visual markers to learn. Those are the fretboard components, and we move down here to this little thing here on the end of the fingerboard. This is called the nut. And that is also what helps guide the strings down here to our final components, which are up here on the headstock of the instrument, where we have the tuning heads, and that's where the strings attach to. So all of these components are good to know just for identification purposes and learning our vocabulary of the uke. Before we move on to lesson 2, I have a couple of assignments for you to complete. First one, I want you to make sure every time you sit down with your instrument that you focus and are very intentional about getting into good playing position. So when you sit down, take a look at the angle of your uke, check your arm, make sure it's nice and loose, and make sure that you have a good grip here with the body of the instrument. And for the second assignment, I put a little quiz together where you can fill out the different components of the ukulele so that you can get really familiar with identifying the different parts. It just will help you overall as you go forward and need to communicate or learn from myself or other teachers. So check out the quiz, and I'll see you back for lesson number 2.